Halloween last week. How was it for you?
Busy?
You said you were going to go as Saja Boys.
No, I didn't. But if I was smart, I would have planned that because I had a viral picture from years ago of me being the scientist dad of the Powerpuff Girls. Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
And the girls were dressed as them. I was the scientist dad, and it went viral all over the world. So I thought if I was Saja Boy, and the girls were the demon huntrix, K-pop members, that might be kind of cool. But I just went as a skeleton.
Okay,
that's my default every year. Every
I didn't know
year
that.
we pull out the skeleton pajama things. They glow in the dark. That's what I am.
Neutrally, are you a big Halloween guy?
A big Halloween might be a little stretch, but
Okay.
yeah, I celebrate.
You celebrate. Okay. Do you dress up or anything? Did you go as anything this year?
No, I didn't go as anything. I was a
Okay,
little
fair.
horny,
So
I
you
guess.
the appropriate level of like, yeah, you're right. You're right sized in there where you maybe celebrate but don't necessarily dress up. But that's like right
Exactly.
down the middle.
Yes,
Yeah, this year I
correct.
went. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Portlandia. I went as one of the two feminist bookstore owners in Portland. I play Fred Armisen's character. So anyway, that's a whole other discussion. But
I'm familiar with that guy.
huh?
I'm not familiar
Oh,
with
really?
that guy.
No, well, I'll have to show you sometime.
I don't watch Portlandia.
Well, if you watch SNL, he was on SNL
Okay.
and he's all over the place. But I hadn't thought about the implication for creators of Halloween, other than I guess when I have done Halloween for the last 2 years, the first time I've dressed up like truly in a long time. I'm like, oh yeah, costuming is such a fun thing. And like you really could pull a lot out of costumes during Halloween as a creator, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Totally. Well, it's your chance to take advantage of multiple things. Tentpole event, Halloween has a lot of searches, right? Specific searches. Secondly, it's a great time for like furthering your branding. Okay. Like, so if I want to, for example, I'm like the Costco dad that goes shopping.
I didn't think
Literally,
about
I
that.
could be like a Costco dad.
You could go as the Costco hot dog.
Yeah, everything, right? So whatever your content is, you could really elevate that.
Yes.
Or say your audience is into a certain character, like, Judy's audience. When I say Judy's audience or family vlog channel, K-pop would be a theme that everybody can relate to. So if I was that character, the Shaza boy lead singer, and my girls were the huntrix, K-pop demon hunters, again, it's like great engagement.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third thing is you can take advantage of something that's trendy and can go viral. Hence me talking about the K-pop
Demon
No, the
Hunters.
Powerpuff.
Oh, the Powerpuff.
Powerpuff scientist dad picture. That went so viral that years later, every Halloween, people would use it. When I say people, like media, it's like, hey, look at this dad.
Really?
So they would just pick it up. They would post it because they knew it would go viral.
Huh.
So, my editor Chris was kind of mad. He's like, "You should have done something with Halloween," and he's right. He was right. I should have done something because even within your content itself, kind of back related to the first one, tentpole event, you can take advantage of it, and especially when you're first starting out as a creator, you need to take advantage of every opportunity. That makes sense.
Yes.
Halloween it goes throughout everyone's lives one way or the other. So like if you're a cooking channel, do Halloween themed recipes. Say you're like a tech reviewer. I would review Halloween decoration or
Oh, yeah.
costume tech. If you are, if creator content, like what I do, what we talk about,
Yeah.
related to the creator economy, there's just so many things that we could have covered to do that. So yeah, Halloween is a huge opportunity, just like so many other holidays throughout the year. And we talked about this in YouTube Secrets, how a tentpole event, and you have to read the book if you want to know what that means, but basically it's when a certain topic or holiday or some type of content that's watched is at the height of its attention, that's when you want to cover it, but you want to start before, so the beginning of the tentpole. So anyways,
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing to me is that, it's also the end of Vlogtober, right? So actually, if you're a vlogger, it could be like the ultimate cap off to a huge Vlogtober event for you. And for me, it was kind of a mixed Vlogtober, honestly, because we were just focused on other things. But it was interesting to see people kind of dig into that as well. But the reason I bring up Halloween is actually not even related to that, although I think that's really interesting advice. But it's because I went to a friend's house on Halloween night, and we were there to play board games, and we were there, and one of the costumes that showed up had to do. This is crazy. I didn't know about any of this. Had to do with Reagan's assassination attempt.
Wow.
Okay, I know, so random, right? Their whole explanation of it was kind of interesting. They were like, this is like an alternate universe version of it. I was just kind of enraptured by their decision to go this direction and by the story behind it. And so, do you know the story behind that Reagan assassination attempt?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, neutrally, do you know the story? Sorry,
like
I missed
what
what
way?
you said.
In
Like, I
what
know
way? That's a good
about
question.
the-
Yeah, he's
I
like,
know
in
what
what
it
way do I
is.
understand it?
But like with the story of like what?
Well, I'll just give the 10-second explainer. 1976, Scorsese releases Taxi Driver with De Niro and Jodie Foster, and you go down the list. Have you guys seen?
I'm familiar with the movie. Yeah.
Okay. There's this guy that gets obsessed with Jodie Foster in that film.
Yes, the taxi cab driver.
And so when he gets obsessed with her, it does these crazy things. I mean, it's
Yes.
actually kind of a sad story ultimately. And so sorry to bring it up in the show, but it's interesting. Believe it or not, it relates to creators. He stalks her at Yale. He then kind of follows her around, writes her these love letters, tries to get her attention in all of these ways. And then in 1981, he ends up deciding the only way I'm going to get her attention is by doing something drastic, stealing a plane, doing something crazy, or in this case, trying to put a hit on the president, which is just insane. And so he goes in 1981 and he actually tries to do it with Reagan. Reagan gets hit, 4 other people get hit, 1 dies. And he eventually goes to trial, right? And eventually is voted not guilty, believe it or not, by rule of insanity. It was the beginning of the kind of insanity defense in these cases. And so for years, he stayed in psychiatric care for just decades and decades. This is kind of a spooky story for Halloween, if you guys couldn't tell at this point. And finally, in 2016, he was granted release, basically, because he was sort of ruled he was just kind of going crazy, right? But in 2020, something else happened because there were still stipulations about his release in 2016. In 2020, he was granted the ability to showcase his artwork, his writings, and his music, because that was what he ended up kind of enjoying as he kind of remade himself as a man in that system, right? And so the reason for that, the reason he got that release is because he became a YouTuber. Believe it or not, his number one thing that he wanted to do is that he wanted to start posting on YouTube.
Oh, so 40 years later?
So I think, 40 years later, he now is posting on his YouTube channel as John Hinckley, and he posts his own original songs and covers of his songs. And
Is he well known?
He's getting his first one has 500,000 views, then 45,000 views. More recently, it's dipped quite a bit, but 6,000 views, 20,000 views. But he's also become an advocate for peace and anti-violence and things like that. And so,
Okay, so back up here. I knew about the movie. I knew about the Reagan assassination. I didn't know the movie was a real story.
oh, I didn't know the movie was a real story. What do you mean?
Okay, then why are you bringing up taxi cab? The taxi cab.
Because that's how he got obsessed with Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Oh.
so he was trying to impress Jodie Foster by trying to kill the
He
president.
watched the movie.
Yeah.
I thought you said he was the taxi
No,
cab
no,
driver.
no.
Oh, got it. I was so dang
He was the
confused.
guy from-
This
oh,
whole
he
time
got
I was like,
inspired
dang,
from
that was
the
a
movie.
real story. And that's okay. Anyways, all right.
But the interesting thing about it to me is obviously, you don't want to do all the things beforehand, but it's amazing to me that his big thing is that he wanted attention back in the day, basically,
Yeah.
and that he had no way of doing it.
And now he
obviously,
does.
That was a very extreme way of doing it, and now he has a way of
Question
doing it.
is, you think Jodie Foster will pay attention?
Absolutely not. Well, I think she did, and it was traumatizing to her. So that's that story. So anyway, that's your Halloween story. It's kind of creepy and weird, but it is interestingly related to what has been going on in
That's a
the creator
cliffhanger.
economy.
I'll tell you. That was a cliffhanger. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, sorry. It was a little bit of a twist, and I told the story wrong, so that's on me. But let's get into some follow-up here. I want to start by kind of retouching on some of the AI advertising corner that I've kind of built out on the show a little bit, right? So the very first thing that I want to talk about is a couple of things that I had you watch before the show. So I had you watch 3 advertisements, 1 from Google and 2 from Coca-Cola. I'm assuming that you knew, based off of your commentary, that you knew that some of them were AI ads at the very least. What was your reaction to each of them? And can you describe what you watched for me?
Well, the first one was the Google ad advertising the new AI kind of assistant tool on Google search specifically. This is probably the first time I've ever seen an ad by Google really featuring that. And there's a little button that lets you ask it something with a little more depth. So rather than doing a search, you're asking it to do almost like a service. First thought was, oh my gosh, this is a copycat of ChatGPT.
Yeah.
100% copycat,
100%.
which they're kind of known for that, being late to the game, not really being innovative. But when they see like, oh, we have to do it, they do it. And that's what it is. Now, the actual commercial production itself, of course, in the context of everything we've been talking about, I'm like, if this is AI, this is pretty good. It's a turkey at a farm, but it's
all animated.
Yeah, it's very animated. But I didn't think that much of it other than like, yeah, it looks good. I don't question it. That's the thing about AI generated content. If it is AI generated content, but you're not trying to make it realistic, then it's not even a question, is it AI or not? It doesn't matter. If it
On
looks
that
good.
note, actually, what about the second ad that I showed you?
And then the second ad was a 6-second Coca-Cola ad. I'm a huge fan of Coca-Cola. I don't drink a lot, but it's my favorite soda. And I thought, it's what I've seen in the past before. Yeah. Very similar to other Coca-Cola holiday ads. Nothing groundbreaking. It's just whatever. Should I talk about the third one?
Yeah, talk about the third one.
The third one, same song, same theme, Coca-Cola holiday ad, but it was kind of mind-blowing because it falls under the same kind of like, that's one thing Coca-Cola has done, probably the earliest of anybody, fully CGI developed ads. So you're talking almost 20 years ago. If I had to guess, their first CGI ad was probably 15 to 20 years ago.
Really?
Oh yeah, they were doing full on, and it was a big deal because it was the polar bears. I think it was the polar bears.
I didn't know that's where that came from.
Yeah, and so very common to see. The difference was, it's like they built out a whole Coca-Cola universe now. Because like the train is coming in from like outside of town, it's rolling into town, and everyone's all paying attention to this Coca-Cola train. The Christmas lights are, and again, in the context of like, if this is AI, it's kind of crazy how realistic it looks.
And that was the third one that you were
That
watching.
was the third one, and that was just way better than any other Coca-Cola commercial I've ever seen. Now, to be fair, CGI has also gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't you telling me to watch it, I might have watched it, whatever. But I was like, if this is AI generated, that's pretty ridiculous because this probably cost a lot more and took way more time, and probably cost a lot less and probably took less time now with AI. But if I were to compare that to like the best CGI version of a Coca-Cola holiday commercial, I would actually think this looks better.
Yeah, so let me give some context about what actually, the reason why I showed you them. You kind of got a lot of it, which is that all three of those ads were AI ads that have run in the past year. So the first one, being a Google ad for their AI product, was all generated using their own VO3 image generator by their internal marketing department at Google. Coca-Cola, the first one that you saw, the 6-second one, was kind of that sort of Coca-Cola holiday polar bear ad with the kind of that world that you were talking about building out. It was shorter, right? It included shots of humans and the polar bears and like a town that's all snowy. It's very stylistic, but it's still kind of realistic adjacent.
Was it
right?
older?
That was last year. Now, the last one that I showed you was Coca-Cola's current version of that commercial, which is this year's version of that.
Yeah. What platform are they using?
I don't know, and I don't know that they've revealed it.
Okay.
But let me read from a couple of the pieces that talk about this, because last week we talked about, I forget who it was that is starting in a couple of years. Oh, it was the Oreo people, right? I forget, Mandela's, I think, is their company name. They're doing it next year. And we were like, oh, it's weird that they're waiting so long to introduce this into their ads. Well, people are already doing it, including the AI companies themselves, which makes a lot lot of sense. So here's Patrick Coffey from the Wall Street Journal. He says, Google decided not to prominently label the ad as made with VO3 or AI of any kind, according to Robert Wong, co-founder and vice president of Google Creative Lab, the tech giant's in-house marketing group. People in marketing sometimes seem, quote unquote, drunk on AI, said Wong. Quote, like, oh, I'm going to use some AI so I could, tell my boss, end quote. And it's interesting that this is coming from the Google people, right? But consumers don't care whether an ad was made with AI or not, he says. And
Agreed.
Exactly. And then they go and they list other companies that are making AI ads. Vitamin Maker Ritual, quote unquote conservative credit card company Coin, prediction market startup Kalshi, whose AI ad ran on YouTube TV during the NBA finals. So in-house marketing department at Google, the person making it is like, well, we're not going to overuse AI. People are like going too crazy, which is interesting from someone in Google saying that, but also that consumers don't care whether it's made with AI or not. So we're not going to label it.
We never cared if it was CGI or not. We just care if an ad is good. It's worth our time. Versus, this is where the question comes up. If it's social media, we want it to be real. Because what's the whole point of social media? It's a social network. You're connecting with real people, sharing real things. So that even though like these platforms are like, oh yeah, like let's let it go free flowing. Nope, beginning of the end.
So let me give Katie Dayton the floor here, also from the Wall Street Journal, talking about the Coca-Cola ads. She says, this gives us some detail about how they're actually making these things, and we can kind of do a cross comparison with creators at that point. Coca-Cola declined to comment on the cost of the campaign, which includes 2 different commercials made by 2 artificial intelligence studios that it said will air in around 140 countries. But Chief Marketing Officer Manolo Arroyo said that it was cheaper and speedier to produce than a typical non-AI production. Quote, before, when we were doing the shooting and all the standard process for a project, we would start a year in advance, Arroyo said. Now you can get it done in a month. Later on, they continue. And advertisers such as the retail Aerie have made their rejection of AI in photos and videos a public relations campaign in itself. That could curry favor with the 46% of consumers in the US, UK, and Canada, and Australia who said they're not okay with AI in ads, according to a January poll.
Is this the Coca-Cola one? No?
This is the Coca-Cola one. So
okay.
I have let me just keep going because these are all related, right? Despite the criticism, Coke's 2024 holiday ad scored this is the last year one, scored very highly among regular consumers, according to System 1. And around 100 people worked on the new holiday campaign across Coca-Cola, a number that's on par with its AI-free productions in the past. Now, when it comes to the AI people, only 5 AI specialists were needed to prompt and turn out and refine more than 70,000 video clips to make the Silverside holiday ad for Coke.
5?
5 for 70,000.
The real question I want to know is how much did it take to make the CGI version or comparable 5 or 10 years ago?
Well, 5 or 10 years ago, I have no idea. But they say even now with AI, this is cheaper and speedier. Those are the 2 important metrics than a non-AI production today.
100%.
Now, needed the same number of people, and it needed a different skill set of people, but it's cheaper and it's speedier. Now, the interesting tension here, there's sort of 3 big things that I think are the themes across these 2 ads. The first one is that there's a tension about what consumers say they want when it comes to AI and what they actually care about, right, when it comes to the numbers. Now, I think any individual one maybe has more alignment between but there's a deep tension between what's actually working, what people are willing to do because of that, and what consumers say that they want. The second thing is the cost, speed, and personnel that it takes to create these ads, which we just talked about. Who needs to be a part of these things? What are the ways that they are involved? What is the different skill set that you need in order to be a prompter? What is the volume of ads that you can create? And what does that mean for the entire marketing industry? The third thing is, what is the impact on creators because of those 2 other things, right? And so I'm curious about what your thoughts are. You already kind of gave me a little bit, but big picture, what's your takeaway from all of that in our AI ad corner?
Oh, I think if you're a creator and you don't think AI is going to be competitive to you, you're living in la la land, because it's all about volume to me. So like take the Coca-Cola example. They said it's cheaper and it's faster with the same amount of people, okay? Well, if it's faster, it doesn't mean they're just going to make one production, right? Say it was like 5 times faster. then say they spent the same amount of time because it's the same salary or whatever, they can make 5 more videos. They can make 5 videos.
Exactly.
Instead of just one when they were doing it with CGI or traditional. It's weird to call that traditional production, okay? So 5 versus 1. So think about that in the context of anything creator related in terms of platforms and content, short form or long form. That means that one creator can do 5 times as much more content that's going to go on the same platform, and then you multiply that by every other creator that might be doing 5 times more. Now, that doesn't mean every creator is going to do it, but the ones that are, they're flooding the library that the algorithm has to choose from with more content. Not all 5 have to hit. Only 1 has to hit. Then you multiply that by every single day that they're working on this. So it's all about volume. It's not even quality right now. You know, I was watching Instagram. So I'm just going through Instagram Reels. Sometimes me and Judy are individually watching it, you know, together and showing each other like funny stuff. And one really caught my eye because there's been a lot of flooding in the world, unfortunately, a lot of disasters. And there was a guy, looked like maybe South America. It wasn't necessarily a poor area, but there was flooding through the streets. And a guy was on a couch floating on the river of water. And it looked like a real guy just like joking around like, hey, whatever, right? But it was crazy because it looked so real.
Exactly.
But of course, I'm like, is this like AI?
Yeah, that's
or is this like actual documented thing? I couldn't tell. And there's so many clips now where I can't tell. I'm looking at the comments and they're either getting so good that people don't notice or don't care because the entertainment value is there. By the way, this is all short form. I haven't seen this on long form, but it's only a matter of time before longer videos can be made. This Coca-Cola one is a good example. It's clear it's not real life, right?
Yeah.
You know, the one thing that's kind of missing from it, I don't know if it's in there or not, humans. Were there humans in it?
There was in the one last year, and people did not like that. And so they took them out this year, and it was all animals.
And it's funny because it makes you think like, oh, they're good at making animals. That's not the question. They're good at making things that humans can't recognize as real or not. See,
the Google one is another good example of that, right? They went full in on the animated turkey.
Yeah, for sure.
Of it, right?
But like going back to the Coca-Cola one, I remember squirrels. I remember a polar bear. I remember maybe some birds.
Yeah.
And then everything else was kind of stacked, like a train, a house, Christmas lights on a tree.
Yep.
All things that we don't even care if it's real or not because we don't really have any attachment to it. A human, though, we can read, right? Like we can read if something's like up with a human. Like literally we can read emotions, right? So then that means we could read everything else. So if you subtract that, then the video itself has way more value without any questions. But the guy on the couch, going back to that, it's like people are now like getting comfortable even if it was AI, if it's entertaining for short form. So my thought is every single week, it's getting better and better. All my creator friends that use AI, like, Benji, I can't believe what I'm doing. Or I even tell them, like, I can't believe what I can create.
Yeah.
And I'm not even an AI specialist. I'm just dinking around with it, playing around with it. Week to week, it's getting better. And so if you just think about this trajectory, there's no way that creators can put their head in the sand and hope that's not going to affect them. And then 2, it's the awareness that's minimum that you need so that you can navigate this new world. And of course, the 3rd is like you have to do what AI can't do if you don't want to compete in that world, which of course for me is long form.
Yeah, practically, I was landing in the same kind of 2 places that you did, which is that it's telling that that one time amongst these 3 really high-profile ads that they included humans, it was the one piece of all of those ads that got negative feedback, right? And so that makes an advantage for human creators to in a short period here, where you can be like, hey, the humanity of my personality as a creator is an advantage when I'm doing things like brand deals, right? Because then I can draw the connection. It's harder for people to kind of copy things. Now, we're going to talk about exceptions to that in a second when it comes to like Sora and things like that, because that's all changing quickly.
I want to say one more thing, though.
Yeah.
In my discussions with creators in general, there's a lot of talk about views are down, engagement's down. This is evidence of the AI content competing right now. I really do believe that that's what's happening. So think about this. Say you're long form, but you use short form to promote it, right? They always say short form creates discovery. Okay. So say your short form, like YouTube Shorts, goes viral and then promotes your long form content. So yeah, we've already talked about short form being competitive and maybe like getting less views, but your long form could also in turn be affected, because say your short form is used to get discovery, but if there's less views and less engagement there, and it's not driving as much traffic to the long form, you see what I'm saying? Those kind of creators are going to already be affected by this. And there's one specific creator, I won't say their name, but they said that their views are like half.
Wow.
And they don't know why. Now, this creator specifically, there's no humans in their content. It's all animals.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a dog. It's a dog.
Not
creator.
AI.
No, it's not AI.
Wow.
It's real dogs. Like they have a whole bunch of dogs and they make dog content. What did we just say? Of all those commercials, the one with no humans in it was not just the most realistic, it was the most acceptable that it was AI. In fact, I don't even care if it's AI or CGI, right? I just know that this was good content. It's like entertaining. It's like Coca-Cola commercial, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
But you just apply that same rule to anything that's non-human.
Yeah.
So if you have content that you're not in, that's not a human related, whether it's cooking, vlogging, anything lifestyle, even travel content, you're cooked.
Yeah.
So if you've got animals, if you're even doing like just like drawings or whatever, like even drawings, like drawings, that's hella competitive. The artists that are gonna win this are the ones where you show yourself drawing it, because then this is a human drawing it. And this human turns around and looks at the cameras. Yeah, this is why I do these strokes or whatever. Or you can even just do commentary. I know artists that do this. They like film themselves doing the art, and then at the end they feature the art or whatever, right? So if you are not in your content, you're gonna be the most susceptible, even if you're long form.
The second piece of it to me, is the what they talked about with cost and speed. And actually, speed, I think, is the more important of the two for these big companies, in my opinion. Now, cost is always important, but in this case, I actually wonder about this, and I'm curious about what your thoughts are. I feel like one of the ways that brands value creators is the speed at which they operate when they create content. Now, back in the day, because we know people who spend tons of money and take months, or this Coca-Cola executive says years. It took them a year to make one of these ads in the past, right? Now it took them a month. That's a 10x, more than a 10x decrease in the amount of time. In the past, if they needed someone to turn something around that quickly, they would go to a creator a lot of times. Maybe not Coke. I don't know if Coke partners with creators, but this example with Coke is replicated across the industry, and I bet you this will happen in other places where that's one more pebble on the scale that's making it harder for them to justify going to a creator first. So that's what my concern is personally.
I can give you an actual real world example.
Please.
When I do sponsored content for short form, right? If it's a 30-second ad, I can bang it out in 30 minutes. I'm very quick because I only do one take sometimes.
Wow.
Like, bam. If I have to hit one more line, I'll record it 2 or 3 times. But I can do 30 seconds in 30 minutes. That's like how my brain works. So if it's a 60-second spot, it might take me 60 minutes. That's pretty quick compared to a traditional production.
Pretty quick, yeah. That's an understatement.
In 30 seconds, they can create a 30-second video using prompts and some kind of AI platform. Now, will it look as real? I mean, that's like up for debate or whatever, but it's right now. What I'm saying is, like, a year from now, it's going to be even more real or cooler looking or whatever than anything I could do for short form, right? Now, this is where I could do laps around it. And this is why I've been going this direction. Say you want a 30-minute video. Guess what? I can bang that out in 30 minutes. How long would it take an AI to make 30 minutes? Right now, it's impossible for like the everyday average user. But even like at the things, you're the one that told me this. There's a certain threshold where it's like it loses all of its like abilities to do like something that's realistically usable. And one of the things that you and I have said, it's hard to duplicate the same character, right? So to me, like even me, I think on Sora, they do a pretty good job of replicating me. But like I'll use the same prompt and a second time, and the video it creates is completely different. Well, when I record myself, it's just me for 30 minutes, right? Like it's not a challenge. It's not like an issue. I literally just and we're talking all my vlogs, right? So yeah, going back to the speed. So how many like prompt sessions will be able to compete against my 30 minutes creating the 30-second spot? By the way, 30 minutes to do a 30-second spot as a creator for sponsored content with call to actions, with messaging, with certain lines, that is not easy, but I've been doing this for like 17 years, so I'm pretty good at it. I can read like a creative brief and be like, okay, cool, bam, like let's record, bang it out. But do a prompt, you know, like this kind of shows you what the motive and intentions and the goal was with Mark Zuckerberg saying, hey, we're going to create influencer AI bots.
Let me piggyback on that because you've perfectly segued us into the next piece of this, which I'm going to kind of slide into this section about the AI advertisement, which is what I'm going to play a clip for you about what Zuckerberg has said about what he wants to do with his platforms. Now, this is not just with the ads, this is with all content on the platforms. And he takes you through a history of what because he's been there from the beginning, right? He takes you through a history of what Facebook has been through and what he sees as the future. And obviously a big part
Am I
of it
going to watch something?
is AI. Yeah, you'll be able to listen in here in just a second. So let me go ahead and pull it up.
Great.
Hey, Tone, why should people
sorry, I
come
have an
to
ad. I need to
AI
Get premium.
get premium.
You don't have premium? Come on.
Has gone through two eras so far. First was when all content was from friends, family, and accounts that you followed directly. The second was when we added all of the creator content. Now, as AI makes it easier to create and remix content, we're going to add yet another huge corpus of content on top of those. Recommendation systems that understand all this content more deeply and can show you the right content to help you achieve your goals are going to be increasingly valuable.
So it's a really short clip, but this is what he says again. He says it's gone through two eras. First, you had content from your friends and family, right? That's the very beginning of Facebook. Second was the era of creator content. He literally says specifically creator content.
Does he say the year?
He doesn't say the year.
Okay.
No. My guess is that that's around the news feed, a little after the news feed. So 2010, 11, 12 is about when that happens, right? And he says now, as AI makes it easier to create and remix content, we're going to add a third huge, he calls it a corpus, of data, of content on top of those. Here's what he's saying when he says that. At the beginning, when you were there with your friends and family, they were the ones supplying you content. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, when you go on these platforms, you may see some of that to some degree,
Barely,
but
no.
it's less and less and less over time because what replaced that? Creators. Creators did because they were better at doing it. They were more entertaining. They were, in some cases, more interesting to you just because they, were more aligned with maybe your political beliefs or a special interest of yours or something like that. We're solidly at the peak of that right now. More and more. I mean, we talked about this last week and the week before that. The fact that Instagram is moving away from the home feed toward the Reels feed, because that really, what the main difference is not, it's a little bit of the UI to some degree, but it's really the recommendation that it shows more content from creators in the Reels feed. What does that mean though overall? The third era that he says is coming is with AI. So if you read that and you extrapolate the trend, if at the beginning, the people who were your friends and family replaced, traditional media, and then creators replaced your friends and family. Well, an AI is coming. What is AI going to replace? It's going to replace the creators. That's what he's implicitly saying. And he literally goes on to say after that he kind of expands a little bit and says, hey, we are going to have a better recommendation engine than ever before. We're spending more money on building out these data servers than ever before. We're going to really try and double down on the amount that we're creating, and that his belief is that they're not going to fully replace creators, but that he thinks that there's a huge, exponentially bigger amount of content that they can create that will compete out a lot of creators out of that other space so that they can own the entire relationship with the viewer at the end of the day, basically the fans at the end of the day of the platform, because they're going to be creating the content, they're going to be serving the content, and then they're going to be recommending the content. They get to do the entire circle all on their own. And so he's literally out there saying, this is what we're about to do. This is why we're spending billions of dollars on this data build out. And that's his vision for the future. So I just wanted to bring that up. I'm curious about what you think.
Yeah, it's what I just said.
It's exactly what you just said.
But it comes from the guy that's pulling all the strings, the maestro of the orchestra, the boss of the company. Literally, he's the boss, right? And Mark Zuckerberg is interesting because he's lasted, right, and stood the test of time, because that's not easy to do.
He's one of the last OG founders.
Yeah, for sure. And the fact that he started in 2004 and still here 21 years later, and he's always looking to the future. This is why they bought Instagram. That's why they bought WhatsApp, right?
Yeah.
That's what they bought. And they're all about surviving and thriving, right, in the next era. Hence why he changed from Facebook to Meta name. He went into the metaverse, and now part of that is he's going into AI. So if the CEO, the boss, is telling you this is the next phase, and me, the creator, you can say like I'm at the bottom of the rung here, is saying, guess what? It's competitive. Then all you have left is the consumer.
Yes.
Right? And the consumers are, like I told you, like I'm observing people. I'm doing it too. Other people are consuming AI content. And this is the beginning, when it's the worst, when it's not nearly as good as it will be. And so, yeah, any short form creator especially, you're going to hear it from them the most. If you're listening to this, you might be one of them. Oh, it won't compete against me. I'm better than the computer. Oh my gosh. You're just in denial because this is how you make money. Mm-hmm. But when a company, and you're already seeing it, Coca-Cola, right? I mean, they don't do any sponsorships with creators, which is funny. But guess what?
Google does.
Totally. When they can type into a computer, hey, I want this person, literally, like they can take your likeness and create their own avatar that's a little bit different, okay? Say, hey, tell them to say these lines. They're going to be flying through the sky, riding on a rainbow unicorn, and they're going to be, I mean, all those cool commercials, like, you know, my first thought is the Old Spice guy, right?
Yeah.
The Old Spice guy. I think he rides like a unicorn at one point, whatever. That was like a real human on a real horse, or at least like a
it was a
like,
full set. It was all
practical. Full set,
yeah.
whatever, and it actually was a like epic commercial. That is, you can make it through AI now. Okay, that's what's kind of funny. Maybe the person isn't AI, maybe the person's real, but everything else can be AI'd out, and it's as much value, if not more value, because it's more entertaining. Okay. It's kind of game over for short form creators, which is kind of sad to say. The way it was before. You've got to do something more innovative or different, right? You can't just rely on it. What's interesting to me is, you know, there's a guy named John Cortese that I follow on Seattle, like content. He's the kind of person that will win this game versus the other people who are doing like highly produced stuff, because his is not produced. You know, I told him recently, I was meeting up with him at like this restaurant. And I said, you know, one of your best videos is one that was like barely edited, right? It's just you walking through town. I think it was like 2 or 3 minutes. He even told me that was one of his most viewed videos. He was getting flowers for his girlfriend at Pike Place Market, you know, this like a farmer's market in Seattle. And what's interesting is it probably was the least amount of work, but it was the one that stood out of everything. That's not by accident, right? Because the one thing I will say with this whole wave of AI content, and then Mark Zuckerberg saying, what's his technical term for it?
Corpus.
Corpus,
Yeah.
Okay? Basically, it's like the next era in his world. People start wanting different, and they also want novelty. And the key word here, nostalgic. Nostalgic. Guess what? Human-like, real life, that's what's going to be a nostalgic novelty, and people will seek that, okay? Just like Sora is all in on AI, like that's all the content that's on there. I actually believe there will be platforms that like no AI is allowed, right? Like if we see AI, it's not allowed, and there's going to be people that are going to be into that. You know what is on Facebook feeds, right? Let's talk about Facebook, like because we're on the Mark Zuckerberg thing. So first era was family and friends, right? And then they redid the wall and made it algorithmic.
Yes.
And then you got the era of creators, okay? And then guess what? Like creators are better at entertaining you, engaging with you, and even to a certain degree relating to you than your family and friends, because your family and friends is just a pool of people in your community or in your life versus creators is all over the world, right? So if you're super obsessed with organic cherry tomatoes, how many people like that are in your neighborhood? Not very many, but like around the world, tons, right? You can make a community. And then this next era being the AI era, because now it's not just organic cherry tomatoes, it might be black crim organic cherry you don't even know what that is, right? Black crim is a type. I just grew it this year. So say you're like super obsessed with that. The amount of people that are just obsessed with that is so small, but on AI, you could go to town. But guess what becomes novel? And Facebook does it. Oh, only people I'm friends with tab. I go to that quite often, right? Like I just want to know what my family and friends. That's become novel. Well, what's novel about AI is just real humans. So like the creators become like the novelty, right? Like a little bit different than AI because the volume AI content is just going to beat all of us creators. So like I just talked about it. In 30 minutes, I can do a 30-second spot. In 30 minutes, how many AI things? Like I use AI like platforms where literally like it takes me about 30 seconds to create a real good prompt, okay? So let's just do the math. That's 60 to my one 30-second spot, right? 60 piece of content going against my one. I can't beat a computer. Even if my content ultimately is as good as the one of the 60, well, what if they do it again and again and again, and then you multiply it, right? It's a volume game. You know, like I teach vlogging, and then it's called Vlogging Academy. And the first phase of that is all about doing daily. Because in daily, that's when you learn a lot, right? You gain the skills and you get the experiences and the instinct to know what is the banger vlog, right? Well, this is a thing. If that applies to me as a vlogger, that also applies to literally everything else, including AI, including creators that utilize AI, or worse, AI creators. How does AI, what is this? Like, let's back it up. ChatGPT, it's language learning model. How does it learn?
ChatGPT it learns, quote unquote, in a couple of different ways. The very first way to think about it is that it takes a bunch of text all over the internet and runs it through a machine and tunes a bunch of little knobs and dials on this like giant machine in the background. And then it leaves those, and then what it does is it says, okay, well, we're going to put the next one in, and we're going to tune them again to better make it so that way it can predict
how quick does it do it?
The learning process, it's very, very slow, actually.
Okay, but does it wait for a human to do it?
Well, what do you mean by that?
What I'm saying is, like, does it wait for a human to like press a button, or does they like program it and then it just goes to town?
Well, there's kind of two distinct phases, right? And it's important that you understand this if you're trying to think about AI, right? Which is that the first phase is what they call pre-training. They go and they do all of the creation of the model. The best example that I can come up with is like a computer chip.
Yeah.
You have to go and you have to plan out all the little circuits on the computer chip, right? And then what you do is you run all of the sand basically into one side of the factory. And when you have the plan, you can have the plant go stamp out all these different computer chips.
Exactly. Yeah. And is that doing it based off of a human paying attention, or is it automated?
There's a degree to human involvement, but for the most part, I mean, it's a program, right? So that's the whole point, is that it's automated and sucking that stuff in.
And I guess this is going into the weeds, but ultimately, like synthetic data, for example, right? Explain synthetic data real quick.
The idea of synthetic data is that it's improving certain characteristics of the model by generating content that it can then feed back into.
Who's generating that content?
The AI platforms are.
On their own.
Yeah, on their own. Yeah.
That's my point. The AI's already doing things automatically on their own. What happens when what I just talked about, like somebody that's doing the prompts, right? I just said it takes me 30 seconds to do a good prompt to create a 30-second, or not a 30-second video, a much shorter video, but still it could be a good 10-second video today, right? What happens when it's 30 seconds? And I can do 60 of those in my 30 minutes versus it takes me 30 minutes to do one 30-second spot on my own as a human. Well, AI is going to be like 100x that when it's able to create content. And it doesn't have to make all of them good. It just needs one of those to beat my one. So even if it's at the speed of me, right? Like I said, like doing prompts.
Yes.
So doing 60 in 30 minutes because it takes 30 seconds, right? What I'm saying is after 30 minutes of work, people usually take a break, right? Will AI take a break?
Definitely not.
Definitely not. It will work through the night when you're sleeping, right? And then after you work a 5-day and you take the weekend off, that thing just keeps going. And that's exponential. You know what's funny when I say I kind of got glimpses of Matrix? I was asking you, hey, at the beginning, does it do it automatically? Oh, no, there's some human involvement. Would you say us using ChatGPT is part of the human involvement?
It is. Yep.
Okay. We're all slaves to ChatGPT.
To
to
a
the
degree.
AI, right? Like we're literally inputting the stuff that's making it better. You know, I did a search recently. By the way, I'm giving away my information. I typed in on ChatGPT, teach me Benji's new vlogging method. And it pulled up a podcast of mine, laid out my whole method. And that's a good example of me like working for ChatGPT. And that's taking it, repackaging it. And guess what? It can further like base off of more prompts and questions, whatever.
Yeah, so that is a slightly different thing, and it actually is equally important to understand, right? Because what's happening there, right, is that you went on a podcast with Sean Cannell of Think Media. It was a great podcast. Definitely go recommend checking it out and checking out what Think is doing over there. And you laid out the kind of high level prescription of what the new vlogging method is, what we teach in our product at Vlogging Academy, right? And there's that pre-training thing that I talked about. Then you have the chip itself, right? And then what you do is that then these companies, they put these chips in data servers and then they let everybody talk to the chip and then it comes back and is helpful to you. That's what you think of as AI when you're using it, right? Over time, what it's done is it's done something else. This is the second kind of learning that's happening, is that it will go and do a Google search and then will take all of the data from that Google search and include it in an answer. So it's real time, right? Whatever's online, they can sort of tap into.
How quickly?
Well, as soon as it's online.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like
For me to do that research, though, how long would it taken for me to consume the content, break it down, and write a report on it?
Well, the podcast is an hour. The cut down version is 20
Want to
minutes.
know how long
so
it
that would
took ChatGPT? Not even 60 seconds.
Totally. Exactly.
So that's a good example, right?
And that's what I mean is that the reason it's important to understand that is because anything that's public online becomes free game for the AI systems.
Especially social media.
Yeah, especially social media.
You like agree to let them use your content the way they want to. You're like releasing it, right? Like there's no license here or ownership of it, right? You own your own IP. That's only if you have a trademark, by the way, right? Like I think like your own personal identity you can own to a certain degree, but all that information, you're just giving it away, which we all kind of know that. The difference is we just never thought like there'd be a machine that could just pull it up like that, right? And just like be a good substitute to the real thing. And so we went from how did LLMs work, how programmers created the thing, and then, you know, like them doing the synthetic data and like creating its own thing to like a prompt versus me actually recording content to even like content that's been recorded, regurgitate. It's the whole making the actual AI brain so smart that in a year from now, when I make a prompt for something, it will blow your mind. But then what happens when it can do it on its own? So there's going to be a time where the only thing that creators and just humans in general can do is just be themselves in real time and just go live. Look, that's like,
oh, interesting.
That is the future. I'm telling you, even vlogging, like there will be a time. I didn't think this like 6 months ago. I really believe there's a time where an AI program can make my shopping vlog and it looks real enough or interesting enough or something crazy that it would be replacement for me vlogging at Costco for a certain amount of people. Not everybody, right? For a certain amount of people. The only thing that I can do now, this is kind of going into the future. Okay, this might be like 2 to 5 years out, but still, that's not that long. Okay, just being yourself live. Live streaming is really a future, including for vlogging down the road, just because this stuff is getting so good.
I can see what you're saying there. I think one of the advantages technically that live has over AI is that it's harder to do the generation and reactivity live. I think that as time goes on, that's also going to kind of get whittled away. And so I guess my more hopeful side says that, the same kind of things that we preach now are going to continue to work for creators. The negative side for me says it's going to be harder than ever to get discovered, and that begins on the short form side and then will eventually move to the long form side over time, right? So what I hear you saying about this automated nature of things, the speed of learning, the concerns you have about out competing, to me the one that speaks the loudest is what Zuckerberg says at the beginning. He's literally trying to build the system to outcompete the creators, right? He just wants to increase the competition and bring all those costs to zero for them. I mean, they basically already have it for free, but why not really go for free and personalize everything for the creators?
He has all the data too. I want to bring up one more thing that I think is really relevant. Elon Musk was on Joe Rogan, and he made a comment about what a computer used to be. Do you know what a computer used to be? Mm-hmm. Before it was an actual computer, what was it?
It was a person that was sitting there doing computations on a piece of paper.
And Nietzsche, you should look up this movie. There's a Kevin Costner movie about the NASA program, and they're trying to get a man into space, and to do the calculations for the rockets and for the space shuttle. Kevin Costner, the director of the launch program, would have to get calculations done. So to do calculations, he had a room full of really smart looking dudes, but actually in a back room in a whole nother building, there was a whole room of, in this movie, African-American women, right? Doing all the calculations. They were the real computers, okay? Yeah. So they would have like this equation, and if they couldn't figure it out, they would send it to them. They do all the calculations, and there's a scene of a lady running with paper or whatever, right? And did you bring up the movie?
Yeah, it's Hidden Figures.
Hidden Figures. Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies because this is exactly what Elon Musk was saying. And this doesn't just during the NASA era, even before that, a computer was a human. Mm-hmm. Do we even like right now my girls are learning multiplications, and I'm like insisting they memorize all the multiplications, but the real truth is, will they ever really need it if like a computer can do it so fast? They don't. Okay, so my point is, think about that. Those women, those people, right? It was men and women doing the computer calculations, and they're like so good. They could fill the whole paper with like a calculus equation or whatever. I don't even know what their problems.
Oh, they're definitely doing calculus.
Okay, yeah. For sure. Okay, pages and pages and pages to get that doing that. If you told them, hey, one day there'll be a computer inside this movie, they actually setting up these computers.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was the women were beating the computers. But remember, that was the first iteration. The computer was the size of a room and it would print one piece of paper. But it was the beginning of the end. Those jobs are completely gone. I'm telling you, even for a creator, it's going to be similar. We can't fathom it. We're the creator company guys, right? We support creators. So I'm not saying they won't be relevant or they won't be. It'll be different. So we're seeing the first iteration. We're seeing the first big computer that's barely competing against a really smart women in this movie that are just like doing laps around it. That's what AI is right now. When the AI, which is a huge computer room, becomes like your handheld computer, which now is the phone, right? That is our modern day computer. Just think about where AI will be. Those women, what are they doing, right? You know, that room full of women, I think like in that scene, there was like 30 women in there or something like that. And then in the NASA room with all the smart guys, the women were smarter, honestly, but like they're all smart people. You even said it, right? They're just faster. It's less expensive, and it could be a smaller team. The question is, who stayed on the team? is probably the smartest people, the most capable people, the one that continue to innovate and grow and not put their head in the sand. It's like, oh, we'll always be doing this.
I can tell you historically, actually, who did survive out of those
Yeah,
computers.
yeah.
It was literally women who were there doing the computer roles, who then went to go program the actual like mechanistic computers built by like IBM at the time, right? Literally, and this is why women were like the first programmers, is because they were all doing the computer thing.
Yes.
And so then they had to be the ones that wrote the programs for the thing that was going to replace them.
So this is a good example. Creators will still exist, but not the way they exist right now. See, the most valuable thing right now is your creative brain. So we're talking about prompts, right? The thing is, like, if the average person does a prompt, they're going to create like a video that looks cool. But if a creator or a creative type of person creates a prompt, right, they're going to like finesse it. They're going to like make it a little better. They're going to improve it. They're like, oh, this doesn't look quite real. Where the normal person, they're like, dang, Sora just made me like lift up an asteroid into the sky. The creative person goes a little bit farther distance. So my point is this, AI is getting so good that it's going to create so much competition for short form creators and just creators like me in general, that you have to be those people to think about what is the next iteration in this era. Where's my skills the most valuable? It might not be like in short form doing something that's competing against a computer, because it gets better and better. Every time I put out a video, I'm training the computer. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, that's very true. Just like we talked about with the Think interview, is that when you post it up there, it is training to a degree, but really ultimately it is allowing it to draw from your knowledge.
But even the creative side of it, my image.
Yeah, definitely. To a degree.
The more data it has, the more likely it is. So that's not like a doom and gloom. It's just like, if you're not thinking this way, you should start thinking this way and not try to do something that's going to beat AI. Do something that AI is not able to do. AI will never be real. It's always going to be fake. So always be real and authentic. And right now, the thing that AI can do is longer videos. Hence why we teach Vlogging Academy, not just because people want to vlog, but I actually think right now in the short term, in the next 1 to 5 years, vlogging will do laps around AI.
Totally agree. And actually, as that relates to put a little bit of a damper on that, there is a set. Let's follow up on some Sora features, right? Sora continues to evolve. And
is it doing longer videos now?
Well, we're going to talk about that in a second. For those who don't know, Sora is OpenAI's video generation platform. It's like the equivalent of Google VO, if you listened to our conversation about AI ads before. They also released a app called Sora, which is their TikTok competitor. It literally looks exactly like TikTok. And the only difference is that you can't record yourself, but you can post AI-generated videos of yourself. Which is their sort of interesting gimmick that they use. And it was relatively popular. It was number 1 on the App Store for a very long time. I think it's still pretty far up there. But it's kind of lost a little bit of kind of its luster. I think that's how these things always go. But they've been continuing to iterate, and there's been some news about what they've been doing. So let's start with the features for this week. This is from Jess Weatherbed at The Verge. She says, character cameos were teased last week and build on the existing feature that allows Sora users to create AI deepfakes of themselves that can be used by everyone else on the platform if permitted. Those same capabilities can now be used on other subjects such as pets, illustrations, and toys, and the feature is launching with a selection of pre-made characters that users can add to videos. Quote, once created, each character comes with its own permissions, separate from your personal likeness. Keep it just for yourself, share it with mutual followers, or open it to everyone on Sora, end quote, OpenAI says on the latest Sora release notes. Give your character a display name and handle, and tag it wherever you want it to appear in a video. I just wanted to bring this up really quickly. We don't need to talk about it too much unless there's something that you want to talk about here, just because this furthers exactly what I talked about with the Mark Cuban thing. So for those who don't remember, Mark Cuban was putting this thing in his AI prompt for his likeness on Sora, that whenever anybody used Mark Cuban's image in a video, at the end it would advertise one of his companies on every single video that somebody used. Well, what did I say during that? This means that the future that OpenAI sees of advertising is identity. Your identity becomes branded. And so this is the extension of that a little bit, which is that They now allow you to create multiple identities on these platforms for different things, and each of them can be branded differently. Now, they're not positioning about that. Not a lot of people are talking about this, but I'm telling you, if you have a cast of characters, you kind of talked about this with IP as it was related to crypto back in the day, right? But if you have a cast of characters, each of them is an opportunity for a brand to show up. And if it's a popular character and 100,000 people use it, well, it's 100,000 impressions just from the creation of it, let alone the discovery of it as well, right? So you can imagine a future where, for example, Sony starts allowing people to use Spider-Man in their videos, and that you either pay to use it, or Spider-Man holds up, his favorite, he holds up a PS5 or something like that in every video or something like that, right? This is what's going to happen. This is the next kind of extension of the AI ad space. And to me, that's kind of a game changer. Is there anything you wanted to say about that?
More competition.
More competition.
More competition for creators. So that platform, it's all AI generated content. So you can compete with AI in this case, right? With your likeness.
Because it's all AI. Yep.
Yeah, but your likeness is more valuable than AI just creating a random person, right? That has no relationship to the audience and no context or, like loyal fans.
Exactly.
But still, more competition, because if they're over there at Sora, they're not over here at Instagram, right? If they're consuming AI generated content and they're doing hours and hours of just scrolling, they're not watching that YouTube video. So for me, it's just more and for a while, it was like less and less platforms that got more and more of the attention. AI just created a whole, like Pandora's box, right? It's
Literally.
like a whole nother universe that's endless. And of course, it's a lot of it, what do we call it? AI slop?
Yeah.
Until it's not. That's what I'm saying. That guy on the couch riding on the river of the flooding road, and he's like pushing the couch off of each building. It just looks so real. I'm pretty dang sure it's AI, but regardless.
I mean, the point that you're questioning it is the point.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing comments anymore. I don't know if you noticed this. I'm not seeing the comments saying, "Oh, this is AI."
I do see it still sometimes, but it's much more speculative. And I think that I've seen things that I'm pretty sure are AI that don't have it because it's so convincing.
Yeah.
To continue the Sora train, there are a couple of other things. The question here is whether they're cooked or cooking, right? And one of the things that they've released is stitching. So it allows you to have consistent characters across multiple shots in their videos, which is one of the things that we talked about with struggle in the past. They added leaderboards, which is like a classic thing that was common on YouTube early on. So they're going through that same evolution. And here's the interesting part. They're allowing you to pay extra to make more AI videos. So here's Robert Hart's reporting from The Verge. And this is Bill Peebles, who leads the Sora team at OpenAI. He says, the video platform's economics are, quote, currently completely unsustainable, end quote. Power users clearly aren't satisfied with the number of free generations they get each day, 100 for users of the higher end pro models and 30 for everyone else. So people said that OpenAI is going to let creators, quote, get as much usage as they want to pay for. So of course the question is, how much does it cost? And the answer is 10 video generations for $4. So there you go. There's a price tag on how much it costs.
Cost them.
Well, it costs a user to do it. And the question is whether they're still subsidizing. We don't know how much it costs them. But what we do know from this is that they're losing a lot of money on this thing. And actually, they go on. OpenAI is.
Okay.
And Bill Peebles, who leads the team, he says, actually, right now, we're going to reduce the number that people can create because it's already like cooking our servers, basically. So just it's more on the side of things that it's expensive for these companies to do. Of course, these things do get cheaper over time at an exponential rate and things like that. But length of video is one of the things that is the biggest advantage for creators, because the longer the video, the more expensive it is for these companies to create these things, and they're already overextending themselves. So short form, I still think, is square on the target. In fact, I was looking at it, and they let you do, I think, 20, 25-second or like 40-second videos or something like that. And those are like the kind of lengths. So you can kind of think of it.
40-second what, Sora videos?
Sora videos, yeah. So it's like it's
40?
Yeah, it's still within that 60-second window, right? But basically what they're doing is they're doubling the amount of time that you can use for every single video. No, I meant
like you can make one clip that's 40 seconds.
I think so, yeah. I think it was 10, 20, and 40-second videos is what I saw.
So I can do a prompt and say, hey, whatever, right? And it will create a video that's 40 seconds long. That's all AI generated. So my character will kind of be like consistent in that 40 seconds?
Yeah, let me go ahead and double check that. I actually in the app right now I see 10 and 15 seconds, but I definitely was looking at documentation that was
But
saying I
even
think it is
15
40.
seconds is already double what we were talking about before.
Yeah, it's just about, yeah.
So there you go. Right? Like if in just a couple of months they went from whatever, like 6 to 8 seconds and now 15 seconds, and if you're saying 40 seconds, when will it go to 1 minute?
That's a
When
good
will
question.
it go to 2 minutes, right? There's going to be a time where it will go to 10 minutes.
So it says 15 or Sora 2 has daily limits of 15 videos for regular users. Pro able to generate up to 25 seconds on the web. It's it's calculated using a credit system where longer videos count as more video generations towards the daily limit. 15-second videos count as 2, 25-second videos count as 4. So 25 seconds is the limit.
You know what? This is going to be like completely out of left field. You know what I'm more interested in? AI generated images on a real person. So you just talk to a camera and then the AI generates like another form of you, like turns you into your avatar. Like I saw a guy that was recording himself, but what the people saw was a female.
Oh, live is what you're saying.
Like it's like masking you. Right. Like, and so you combine that with AI's power, you could, so this is what gets crazy. One day you're going to be maybe even live streaming, right? And you see this beautiful woman, but really it's just some dude in the basement.
What's the impact there? I guess I'm confused about what the impact is.
What impact is like part of the value of some creators is how you look.
Yeah.
Right. So, like for example,
But what's the difference between that and like a fully like AI generated avatar?
It's easier. It's easier, meaning like, wouldn't you agree that part of what makes a fully AI generated video difficult is the background? So you know what I found in my usage, if there's water in the background, it's like harder for it to be realistic because water moves a certain way. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. So if the AI only has to generate the image masking your face, right? I've seen these. Like when I'm scrolling through, I'll see like someone literally showing, like, hey, I'm this dude, right? I'm just like this guy living in the basement of my parents' house. I, have nothing to do except I've got all this time, but I want to look like a beautiful woman. And he's like recording himself doing a talking head video, and what the audience sees is this beautiful woman. And as long as the computer can keep up with it, he could go live for 30 minutes. And as a viewer, you think it's this beautiful woman. What if you like start creating a connection with a woman?
So like what you're saying is that technology is closer, and therefore it's a bigger threat for us because it's more possible.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so AI just makes it even better.
Interesting. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I would imagine that probably using some AI something there, like maybe like a deep fake or something like that.
Yeah, we're isolating it to like specific platforms or types of formats, right? Like we're talking about how you can get IP to be used in your avatar, right? Like if you're Mark Cuban, I'm saying combine all of it and like someone's going to innovate and do something. Right now, it's just going to be, it's like a huge competition. Another thing I'm seeing again, but it's like a little more worrisome, is creators getting depressed. Creators like finally like sharing that they're having way more challenges than they're leading on to, right? Because their views are down.
Oh, interesting.
Not everyone, right? Like a lot of people, that's always been the case, right? We know this for short forms. They went on this arc, right? There was a time where like the game was all short form. It was all TikTok, and then Reels came on and YouTube Shorts. So we knew that competition was happening, and there's like this downward spiral. And so what did you have to do? You had to do long form. What I'm saying is across the board, more creators saying it. It's this AI content. It's that Mark Zuckerberg, this is the third universe, right? He called it, what'd you call it?
Corpus.
Corpus, okay. I don't even know what that word means, but to me, it's like the third era.
Yes, yeah.
And that era of AI generated content in whatever form, all of it is competing against us creators.
Yes.
And that is my point. And I guess why I bring it up is every one of these stories, though they're isolated, They all are part of the whole, which is AI. And I'm just telling you, the whole like AI taking over the world, I think is dramatic. But AI being able to compete against the world is here, including for creative work and creators.
Totally agree. In fact, I feel like that's enough AI for the day for now.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and go the other
Thank you,
direction,
Lord.
which is a follow-up to what we talked about last week, which is Creator Camp. They have their feature-length film that they made with American Baron, did their first spot in Seattle, actually, of 4 locations that they're going for on a tour to show their movie in a traditional kind of like almost like film festival format across all of the West Coast and then up to New York City. So they started in Seattle. They went through San Francisco. They went to LA. They did this all by the end of October. They showed it in 3 separate theaters, and I think they've shown it to thousands, literally thousands of people, in the low thousands of people, but thousands of people now. And have just declared it a success already. And I just wanted to note that I've seen a lot of really positive feedback. Some people we know actually went there. And also just generally the kind of vibes are good. A lot of this is sort of self-reported by them, but the work they're doing in trying to get YouTubers to create feature-length films that premiere on YouTube to take on the traditional Hollywood system seems to be catching a little bit of steam, which is cool. So just something to follow there. Let's go and get into the real topics of the day, though, starting with some follow out. Recently, you were posting in Justin Moore's chat the other day, and he was talking about the kind of changes that are happening in the ad space on YouTube. I just wanted to give you a chance to talk about what things you heard from him. I remember him talking about the influence of TikTok lowering the bar for creation, a lot of themes about what we just talked about there. A renaissance of long form advertising in the next 6 to 12 months is what he talked about. And the importance of dynamic ad insertion were things that stood out to me. But I just wanted to give you a chance to reflect on Justin Moore and tell us more about what he does and what your experience was getting your question answered on his show.
So if you're not familiar, I've been a vlogger for a long time, since 2010, but started daily vlogging in 2011. And, you know, there was a lot of other vloggers that started at the time. Justin Moore and his wife, April Athena, both were family vloggers that started in that era. Fast forward, Justin Moore has built an agency. He no longer runs that agency, but it, did brand deals for family content creators. So I would say probably one of the best in the game for pitching brand deals. And now he has this thing called Creator Wizard, pitching brands to get sponsorships for creators. That's his whole business. So he knows a lot. I mean, this guy is the one guy I can talk to and like we can keep up with each other. Okay. It's like 2 AI, chats talking to each other when it comes to brand deals. And I was on his live stream because he coaches people, of course, and he was asking questions. I said, what was the unique observations you're making about short form sponsorships versus like long form sponsorships? He said, definitely short form is just getting way competitive. He didn't mention AI, but I know it is, right? It's just like getting harder. There's just more options. Think about it. If it's easier for someone to create a short form piece of content, that means the entry to barrier is lower. So there's going to be more competitors. That was what happened. And the AI comes into the scene, right? Competing for those views, that attention. And so brand deals are changing, right? But then he said long form, more opportunities.
Despite creator sentiment, which is down, which is what you're just saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's just like a reframing of the mind. Even the industry is going to have to, like, it was crazy. I had a sponsor recently who does a crazy amount of short form sponsorships. I know this because I see the ads running to me. Okay. And they sponsored our long form content. And when we left off the last time we did it, right, they said, oh, you know what? It was good, but we're going to move on, blah, blah, blah. And I know they're working with other creators. They return and want to sponsor more content.
Really?
Okay?
Interesting.
Because there's nobody doing long form content like us that they can work with. Okay. Now, to be fair, there are other people, but they thought we had enough quality. They're like going to do it again. So the point of me saying that is long form does stand apart from short form, obviously, right? There's a lot of opportunity there that I think a lot of creators don't realize. So even the brands and the platforms have to reframe. It's like, hey, there is this value here. It's different than short form. See, with short form, you can take somebody's sponsored spot and it becomes an ad for yourself.
Yeah.
All the content that's like featuring it, that's from short form creators featuring this product, it's all basic ads that are being run to me. Mine, you can't run as an ad because it's a 30-minute video. And the integration, by the way, how long do you think my integration was?
30 minutes.
No, it was actually more like 9 minutes of the 30-minute vlog.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Got a lot of views, by the way. Was a high-performing one. Going to the last thing that Justin Moore said was this whole, what do you call it? The sponsor spot tool that YouTube is going to let you.
Dynamic ad insertion.
Dynamic ad. Basically, they're isolating where your ad is, your sponsor spot, and they're saying in the future you can change out that spot for old videos. And he says that's like so smart because say you have a sponsor that doesn't want to just sponsor this vlog or this video, they want to sponsor your whole library. Now with dynamic ads, you can insert it into it. If you have, I don't know, you must have to pick in your video where that dynamic ad is and then across your library. So instead of them sponsoring one vlog, right? They can sponsor the
Your
last
channel,
100 vlogs and go into that dynamic ad spot with an ad that's more relevant, right, to your whole audience. Because oftentimes, if you have a loyal audience, they might not just watch one video. They might watch like 5 videos.
Especially if your content's evergreen.
So that ad will be more valuable because it's all about the follow-up, right?
Yes.
They say 7 times it takes to make a sale, right? That's like a sales concept. So in this case, they could do it across your 100 videos that have that dynamic ad spot. And guess what? Next year, you could run another ad with another brand to that same 100 videos. This is where long form content has a lot of benefits that short form can't, because the whole entire short form is an ad. You can't change it, right? You can only run another ad before you watch that short form.
And so the brand really likes that they get to cut.
But my 100 videos that dynamic ad spot lives in, those are all organic content that has its own value that people can watch over and over and over, and it doesn't feel like an ad until that dynamic spot. So he says that's really significant. More interesting, though, than like a huge moneymaker because it's not even really launched. So that was interesting, and I agree with him. But to me, like, what's the difference between that dynamic ad spot and just an ad that gets run?
Well, it's your control over it as a
your
creator.
Control. And then the real question is, do they take a cut of it? I think they will.
They probably should.
They probably, there's no way, because they're competing against their own
But I don't know
ads.
how are they going to do that though, because they don't know any of the contracts that you're signing.
What if
behind
you
the
have
scenes.
to? What if you have to just pay a fee?
I think it's going to be too big of a. I actually would bet against them taking a cut.
I'll bet you that they will take a cut.
Let's note that down. We're going to check in a year and see which one of us is right.
Okay. But again, that's funny to me though. That's all gimmicky. That's all gimmicky. Okay. Because that sponsor spot is just like running an ad. For me, I still think there's going to be a lot of opportunity with long form, especially if you're creative enough to be able to integrate it. So that integration was 8 minutes long. The whole 8 minutes doesn't seem like a commercial though. It's like you don't even know where the beginning and the end really is. It's part of the story, right? And you know what's funny? Justin Moore and I remember the first time somebody at a VidCon approached us that, hey, do you know that YouTube's going to make it so you can skip sponsor spots? Which was a big deal because a lot of people just hold up a piece of paper like, hey, you guys, and today's podcast is brought to you by
YouTube Secrets.
Gold. Okay, yeah, YouTube Secrets, right? Gold finders. And you know, the price of gold is going up these days, and you need to diversify your portfolios. You can tell I've watched a lot of these gold ads. What they did was they made the ability for the viewer to skip that. You all know. You probably skip that a lot. I skip it a lot, okay? And when he told both me and Justin, this guy left the table, both me and Justin go, how can you skip like a organic sponsor spot, right? That's part of the entire creative of the video. It's impossible. You skip the whole video. See, the reason Justin and I kind of knew this from the beginning, because that's the type of creators we were. We didn't just like read a script or what. That's why when we see these podcasters, they're like great at podcasts, horrible at sponsor spots, because they just think of it as like a taking a break or whatever. For me, I always knew that was a problem because one, people just will fast forward it, or YouTube just did it for you. They created a skip ahead button. But when we do our integrations, it's part of the creative delivery of the entire value, so like, a good thing I should do, I think that it's funny, I'm giving myself ideas. I should find these brands that are at Costco and get them to sponsor my Costco shopping vlogs, right?
Totally.
I need to get on that. Carla, let's do this, okay? And then I just feature, hey, by the way, today's Costco shopping vlog is brought to you by this. I love this. I already talk about all these products. Yeah, it's just like giving them a little bit more attention, right? And like maybe I'll bring it up multiple times throughout the shopping vlog. Somebody else gave me the ideas like, Benji, you should have your own product at Costco. That's a whole nother discussion. But the summary of you asking about Justin Moore is this: more opportunity with long form brand deals than there are with short form brand deals. And even with this dynamic ad spot, the point is there's more opportunity there just because it's a space that less creators are getting sponsored at, or like we thought. And short form is so competitive. Long form, especially super long form, that's like a new term, by the way. Super. We did our first hour-long vlog the other day.
Yes, we're going to talk about that.
And I'm telling you, by the way, that's where our sponsor spot was.
Okay, let me move on because I want to get to that in a second here. And I just want to quickly mention something else that's happening, which is that more companies than ever are getting into making content. They're becoming media companies. And these are companies that you wouldn't traditionally think. I'm not talking about the Comcasts of the world. I'm not talking about Hollywood. I'm talking about Dick's Sporting Goods. Dick's Sporting Goods announced, I think a couple weeks ago, that they're launching a entertainment company inside of their retail company, basically. So apparently they've been doing some like documentaries over the years. They have this documentary called We Could Be King, which won an Emmy Award. They have a second Emmy for The Turnaround, which is another documentary about the Philadelphia Phillies. And like some super fan or something like that. But what they are doing is they're kind of continuing to build out their ability to make media and content. And to me, I just wanted to bring this up because it kind of portends a future that where more and more companies are getting into the media game because it's more and more appealing than ever before. So before we talked a lot about the competition that AI represents, especially to the short form world. Well, I think in the long form world, there's more opportunity than ever before because of the TV era of YouTube, that more and more YouTube is the new TV, and that these companies are going to start making these documentaries, these stories that can highlight their brand on their own, and that they'll release directly to YouTube. And I think they see the opportunity there and think that they can compete with some of the bigger names in the space that you might think of, like the Netflixes of the world and stuff like that. So just wanted to bring that up. I don't know if you have any just short thoughts on what that means for the creator space, but thought it was interesting and something we'll continue to track.
That traditional media is getting into like the streaming space and creating like digital content.
Not even traditional media. This is Dick's Sporting Goods, like the retail store. So it would be like Target getting into like making documentaries.
They're just super late in the game. I mean, this is just out of necessity. Like when I think about Dick's Sporting Goods, they were running like paper ads that they sent through the mail, and that's how they were marketing, right? And how effective it was. I actually think like in a way, as people are doing less and less of that, that is getting more effective. You know why? Because I actually look at those ads now. Well, I also shop a lot more because of my vlogs, right? I mean, I've always shopped, but like I'm more intentional about it, so I'm like looking through the deals. But they just need to get in front of people. It's all about attention, right? Where's people's attention? And a practice I make, this is gonna sound like I'm like totally like into people's businesses. I was like, hey, show me your screen time, right? Like what is the top 3 to 5 things that you're spending your time? I do that with my kids because it's my responsibility to make sure. But anybody, I'm like, yeah, what are you spending the most time? And then I ask why. What are you watching on those pieces of content? Well, guess what? If you're not part of that top 5 on the average in terms of the brand or like a business like Dick's Sporting Goods, you need to get there because then you don't exist to people. right? Unless you run an ad, which can, be costly, also, costly to produce, costly to run the ad, right? And it's very competitive. Well, if you have your own content that people want to watch organically, that's the best. But it takes a lot of work to do that as well. And hence why they are creating like a media platform of their own to do it, because they realize, I've been hiring these consultants, this agency, maybe doing creators. In the whole, it costs so much money. What if I just like bagged all that and did my own thing and created my own Dick's Sporting Goods character or whatever? I've always said Trader Joe's should have an actual Joe character. And, they don't do that much marketing famously, right? But like if they were, just have a Joe, and guess what? He does what I do. He shops at Trader Joe's and becomes like a celebrity. Hard thing is like you have to commit to that person, right? And nobody wants to see Joe like a different Joe, right? Like a famous example, Blippi.
Yeah.
Blippi, Blippi?
I know Blippi, yeah.
Now there's a new Blippi. You know that, right?
Yes,
It's
I do.
like half Filipino guy. It's like, kids are like...
That was Steve in my era of Blue's Clues. There's a new
exactly.
Steve. Yeah.
New Steve.
Yeah.
Successfully did it. I'm just saying like it's not easy, and that's a whole nother thing. But it's all about attention, right? So for the brands, like how do they create their own Blippi, their own Steve? And to me, that's just what Dick's Sporting Goods and other brands are doing. Even more than the characters, they're just trying to create content. Because if you don't create content and you're not on social media or these platforms that people are paying attention to and their top 5 screen time apps, then you just like a store you pass on your way to Starbucks.
100%. And that's why I bring it up, is because I kind of see this as continuing to be the future of what these companies end up doing, because they're going to want more say in their story. But it also speaks to how difficult it is that the thing that creators do, right? Creators are doing something that these companies really want access to. So make sure you know your value when these companies are coming to you and asking you to do some marketing for them, because you're doing something that someone like Dick's Sporting Goods is paying a lot of money to, try and make happen for themselves. And, you have expertise that maybe they don't in that area.
Until an AI bot or avatar of you can do it as good or better eventually. And that's why that's kind of crazy what's happening.
Speaking of AI, actually, I know I promised we'd get away, but this one is kind of broader. This is actually the big news of the week, in my opinion. We just missed it last week, which is that YouTube is restructuring. There's big changes. And as a creator, I think you should know about it. And so I want to help explain it from the perspective of a creator, what you should know. So first of all, the context. This is from Todd Spangler at Variety. He says, YouTube is creating a third separate product organization called Creator and Community Products. Now, I want to come back to that. I'm going to put a pin in that. Remember that those words, Creator and Community Products. I'm going to jump over to Alex Heath at Sources, which unfortunately is a paid source, so you'll have to pay to get in there. But this is how he summarizes it. Going forward, YouTube will have 3 product teams reporting directly to Neil Mohan, their CEO, rather than all product teams reporting to former Chief Product Officer Johanna Vulich. The new product groups are, quote, viewer products, led by Vulich, and, quote, subscription products, led by Christian Olitzen. Ostlin? I actually don't know how to pronounce his name. Sorry, YouTube. And then finally, YouTube will begin searching for a leader for the third, again, Creator and Community Products group, according to Mohan's memo. So here are the 3 products, right? The 3 product groups: viewer products, which is like the actual YouTube like homepage, the viewer, the recommendation algorithm, everything that you think of as like YouTube, the app, right? The second one is subscription products, which is like YouTube TV, YouTube Premium, YouTube Music, all of those things. And the third one, creator and community products, which nobody is leading yet. And so the question is, what is
Nobody is leading it at YouTube?
They're looking for a leader. And this is actually, by the way, this is a combination of different groups in YouTube that were separate creator kind of and community organizations within YouTube. There was a kind of a community one and there was a creator one. Now they've unified those under a new leader, which they're searching for right now. And I'm going back to Todd Spangler at The Variety. He says, this group will focus on supporting creators of all sizes, driving creation through generative AI tools, YouTube Shorts, and YouTube Live, and building community across the platform. Currently, YouTube has separate leads for creator products and emerging experiences and community products. Those teams will be merged into one organization, and YouTube is in the process of hiring a new lead for the combined team who will report to Mohan. Here's why I bring this up. Famously, YouTube has kind of a weird history of direct relationship with creators. I don't know. Would you say that's kind of fair to say? It's not bad. I think that they've really tried their hardest and they have some really fantastic programs there.
Definitely gone through some evolutions. Let's just say that. They're
but
the best of all the platforms by far.
100%. And they know it, right? They kind of understand what it takes to be a creator, I think, ultimately. Now, they don't know 100% because they're the platform, but they are the closest to like truly understanding how the space is. The thing that's interesting about this to me is that this tells me that they want to directly support creators a little bit more because they want someone who's focused on creator and communities that creators create reporting directly to the CEO of the company. Whereas in the past, that was like insulated from him in the past.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts right away.
Susan Wojcicki, right? Rest in peace. Like responsible as a leader to build YouTube to where it's at.
Yes.
I don't even know when she started, but I know that when she was there, she like did amazing things from the results of YouTube generally.
Yeah.
How many times was she interacting with you like content creators? Almost none. My wife actually did get to interact with her one time at one creator summit. I don't think the CEO has to, but I would have thought, especially for a platform that's so good about interacting with creators, that the CEO, in this case, Susan, would interact more, but she did not. Okay. She's busy running YouTube. So I totally understood. I didn't think that much of it. But I am seeing a huge difference with Neil Mohan. He is doing a lot with creators. He shows up at a lot of creator stuff. He does a lot of creator interviews. He goes on a creator's podcast doing that. So Susan just never touched that. I don't know if it was a personal thing. Maybe she's not as comfortable on camera. But whether he is, it's funny. I haven't actually watched a lot of his content, but I know I've seen him on other people's thumbnails, and I know he's in the interviews. So that's a huge difference. And that, of course, comes to the top. So it doesn't surprise me that he's like, one, he values creators to the point where he wants to interact and be on their content. And now he's like telling a team or the whole team, we're going to do more for creators. Because what has happened, this is both internal information that I know, as well as just like what I'm observing from the outside in. They're not doing as much for creators as they once were. And the programs, the events, just kind of like even the departments aren't as funded and they're not as built out. So this is like, it kind of makes sense that they're kind of doing this because they were, for a while, they were losing a little bit of that relationship. I know because I was obsessed with that relationship. If I had like a phone number and email, like one person that worked at YouTube back in 2010, like I cherish that thing. I built a relationship. And over time, they created what's called partner managers. These are people at YouTube that actually have a direct relationship, right? Like they actually like help that YouTuber, and that department got built out, and there's different layers. Some people like managing 100, some people are managing only like 4 to 8 or whatever. And that forever was like a big deal until literally just the last few years. Like it was like a completely different ball game. And you know, like even my evolution has changed too with YouTube. But still, the point is, they were always great at putting on creator events, doing special creator campaigns. We were on what's called the parent panel, helping to work on the YouTube Kids app, and they had like a ton of those. Less and less of that stuff the last few years. And that's kind of where I'm at right now with YouTube and their relationship with content creators.
Yeah, and I think that's why I bring it up is that to me, it's a good sign. It's just something to flag and follow. I want to put our stake in the ground now. To me, having that, unifies that there's less disparate approaches to creators across the company. And B, directly reporting to the CEO shows you that Neil Mohan's priority is to do those three things. Have subscriptions be like one product, have the actual platform and usage of the platform itself be another product. And that the third thing, he has to really cater to creators who are about to go through a lot of changes, as we've talked about this entire show and is kind of a giant theme of this channel, right? Over, the past several years and into the foreseeable future, basically.
Could be gimmicky though.
Could be
Gimmicky. Because I've gone through so many gimmicks over the years with creator monetization.
But let me tell you why I don't think it is. Because this is a part of a major restructuring of YouTube. And the reason I said this is related to AI is because he was saying AI is a big piece of this, right? That it's changing how they're running their company. It's changing what he sees as the future of the creative on the platform, as we've talked about this entire show. And at the very end of it, he wrote a letter to all of the YouTubers, is what they call themselves, if you work at YouTube, which is confusing, but yeah YouTubers. And he says that he's starting a voluntary exit program, basically to lay off a percentage of the company if people want to leave. So, and that's not because they're doing bad, it's because they're changing direction. He's serious about totally restructuring how the company works because he's changing it all.
There's probably a lot of fat at the company that they're trying to shred off for sure. Because, this is not unique to YouTube or Google. A lot of companies are actually doing this, restructuring and kind of like outfitting
Slimming
the company for the new era,
Yeah, he says some of you may be ready for a new challenge, which suggests that the cuts are aimed at reducing bloat rather than pressure.
It's better than a random email that comes at 5 a.m. saying you're done.
Yeah, so it to me, that's all a big deal. And the reason all this news, by the way, it's coming along right now is because it's earnings week. Right. So everybody's releasing all these things. It's a reflective time of the year as
also
you go.
Also lots of layoffs happening in the tech world.
Exactly. So it's a huge set of changes in a very tumultuous year. Like we're coming up on the precipice of, a few years with ChatGPT now at this point, and that has really changed the luster of everything. There's also been a few years of having the short form era on any social media platform, right? And one of the things that Alphabet, which is the owner of Google and YouTube, talked about is something that really stood out to me. This is maybe the most shocking thing that I have personally learned this year about the creator economy. So take that as the basis here. I'm going to go ahead and play a clip of the Alphabet call with Sundar Pichai, who is the CEO of Alphabet and Google. Neutrally, can we cue this up?
We are ready to go.
Let me go ahead and pull it up. So this is the CEO speaking at their investor call.
YouTube Shorts also continues to perform well. Shorts now earn more revenue per watch hour than traditional in-stream on YouTube. At our Made on YouTube event, we rolled out a number of AI-powered features that are helping creators supercharge creation and build their businesses. AI is now streamlining the entire content creation workflow, from generative video tools and more efficient editing to AI-powered insights that help creators optimize their channels.
So there's a couple things in there. The first one is the AI piece, which I just wanted to use to connect to our discussion about Mohan. The most shocking thing to me is what he said at the beginning, though. In the US, Shorts now earn more revenue per watch hour than traditional in-stream on YouTube. This is exactly the opposite of everything I have been saying for the last year about what I understand about how platform economics work when it comes to video. Because traditionally, short form monetized worse than long form video. It was always harder to do. Now, it doesn't talk about the total amount of dollars. It doesn't talk about how that money is shared, which are things that we should discuss. But it does put a big red flag in the ground to me to say, something is happening right now with the economics of these platforms, and I personally do not understand what's going on, and it totally changes how I think about things. So this is a big challenge for us to think about as we go into 2026, and I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, with a statement like that, you have to have so much context that's impossible to have, right? Why is he even saying it? You said this was on an investor call?
Yeah, this is the investor call.
He's just trying to show off this thing that they built out for the last few years, talking about, why it was worth it, and we finally got there. So, there's just other motives and incentives for saying that. But on the other side, most plain and simple, if it's true that it makes more money for YouTube and Google,
per watch hour, not overall.
Per watch hour.
Yeah, so per unit time. So for every hour, Shorts is more profitable than long form content on YouTube.
Per hour of watch time than whatever. How much are creators making for short form versus long form, right? And so that's the thing. It's probably more profitable
for Google.
For Google, because the short form creators aren't making as much.
Well, but it's not profit, it's revenue, right? So you have to remember that that's how they're accounting
Revenue.
for this. So it's bringing in more money than
So
every
it's not
hour.
more. You see what I'm saying? Now you're having to dissect the words he's using.
Totally, but this is why it's so important to me, right? So, for example, let me just give context here. This is why it's the biggest news I've heard all year. Because what that means is that YouTube now has an incentive to push shorts more than ever before. It explains everything that I've seen as it relates
by the way,
to shorts.
on certain devices.
That's true, not
Okay,
on the TV necessarily.
and I see it more and more. It's like they're force feeding me these shorts when I go onto the YouTube app. I'm like scrolling through. You used to only see 4 max. I've seen like 6 and maybe 8 in a row, and then literally like maybe 1 or 2 long form, and then another one.
Yes.
Part of it is because I do consume shorts once in a while, and of course, the more they put in front of me, especially if it's got a good thumbnail, you know what I'm getting random? It's just again Marvel and Star Wars short form content. Do you know why Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber is like so bright in this scene? I'm like, yeah, I want to know, right? If I've got like 30 seconds. But on the TV, never. I've never, ever wanted to watch a short form like shorts on the TV. So that's where long form. And this is why when I'm talking and I'm coaching long form content creators, think TV. Now, it's funny because I don't know if we're going to get into my analytics, but when I look at the number one device, it's of course TV for my longer form vlogs. But second is phones. So people are watching it, but what that statement's saying is my long form that gets views on the phone is competing more and more with shorts on the phone on YouTube's app on that device. So
Exactly.
So I mean, again, like I'm not even overthinking what he said. It's funny that you think that's like the biggest thing you ever heard, because you think about like more the inner workings of a company from an economic standpoint. What do I care about? What does a creator make? How much am I making? And word on the street is, even though I'm not generally a short form creators, when it comes to YouTube shorts, they do not like the revenue they get from shorts, or it takes so much work that when they talk to me, it's like, I might as well just do longer videos or long form content because I'll make more money with the same amount of work, if not less, doing long form videos.
But let me put a stake in the ground for why it is such a big deal, because that exactly plays into what makes it such an important piece, right? The economic incentive for creators is to post long form, right? Because they are accountable for the own ads that are shown on their own videos. They get a percentage of those ads shown on their own videos, and they're making more. Creators are making more money posting to a long form on YouTube, right? There's also that big opportunity of the TV that we've been talking about all year. But think about what this means now that this number has passed this threshold for YouTube. If they want to push the entire creator economy to making more shorts because it makes them more money, and by the way, they also pay out less, that means that there's going to be more competition, unfortunately, on long form videos, because the shorts is going to eat away at YouTube long form on the phone, for example, right? Or even on the computer to some degree as well, in my opinion. So to me, that's a big concern as a creator, right? And it just, frankly, it speaks against a lot of the things that you and I have believed for the past year as it comes to kind of the YouTube space. The one exception to that is the thing that I know that you were just talking about, which is the TV. That if the TV is growing, then it is the place where YouTubers can continue to make a lot of their money. And if anything, it pushes you even further into saying this is the TV era of YouTube if you want to be a long form creator on YouTube.
By the way, it actually doesn't go against what we're saying. It's just happening faster than we thought. Remember?
That's true.
We're saying longer form is where it's at because we're in the TV era. And that's not going to happen for too long, because once everyone figures out you can make money over here doing these longer videos that are less produced, that are in some cases not even edited, right? Again, my number one money making vlog is one that's not edited at all.
Yes.
I went out on a limb about a month ago. I was like, hey, I'm going to record a vlog that I'm not going to edit. My editor's like, oh, you're crazy. It won't do that well. No, they didn't really say that. They're like just questioning like what it would do. I didn't even know it'd be my number one moneymaker. It is, to be fair, like 56 minutes. I just remembered I did my own hour-long vlog. I totally forgot about that, right? But then when I go to monetize, because people ask me, oh, how'd that unedited vlog go? And I looked at it made me the most money of all my other vlogs, okay? So think about it. All those creators that heard my number one moneymaker, including short-form creators, they're like, I might want to get into long-form. It's just happening faster, okay? But there is a huge thing that we did say that just is being confirmed. What did we say? What makes YouTube unique right now is the TV era, right? Because they're dominating at a high level. But what makes them a superpower is they're dominating on both the TV and the phone. On the phone, not necessarily long form though, on shorts, more and more. So you go from watching lots of shorts and shorts and shorts, and let's talk about Star Wars, right? Like I have this secret love for Star Wars. Well, when I want to watch the longer deep dive into Obi-Wan Kenobi's backstory of what he was doing in the desert when there's two movies that separated like 20 years of time, I watch the long form on the TV. So they're dominating on the phone device and the TV device. And to me, that is kind of the unique thing. For what I'm trying to say though is this: with short form, there's still opportunity there. It's just super competitive because more people can get into it, including AI content. But long form is less competitive because less creators understand this. That's why we've been telling everyone to do it. And more creators are coming in. But also, we're just talking about like 20-minute vlogs, 30-minute vlogs, now an hour-long vlogs. What happens when you do 2 and 3 hour pieces of content, And I guess kind of the ironic thing about all this is I just realized I did that 56-minute vlog. That's my number one money maker. And then a month later, Judy and I do an hour-long vlog on our family vlog channel, and it's one of our number one performing videos. I want to go look at that.
In fact, this is a great opportunity to bring us to the final segment of the show, which is Film Room. In the Film Room, we talk about it's kind of the director's commentary for our channels, what is going on. And of course, the big topic of this month for us is Vlogtober, which is we'll talk about. And the focus of today is Judy's hour-long vlog that she made to cap off Vlogtober. So let me take you through the story of how I got to experience this. So on Sunday, you text me, late night, went from 9 out of 10 to 4 out of 10 in just a few hours. For those of you who don't know, that's the ranking that YouTube gives of relative performance over the last 10 videos for the thing. So 9 out of 10 means it's one of the worst performing of the last 10 videos over that period of time. And then by the time you texted me, it was 4 out of 10. So it jumped up to one of the best performing within just a few hours. Then it went on. So after that, you mentioned, hey, then this morning, average view duration went up. And it was 3 out of 10 at that point. It kept going though, because it says it's our first hour-long vlog. And I will say this is an interesting one to talk about because Judy took all day to edit. And then finally on Monday, you texted me one more time, not instant, but I'll take it, slow burn for these longer vlogs. And it was a 2 out of 10 by that point. So it went from one of the worst performing to the second best performing of her vlogs over the course of a couple of days. And it was the longest vlog that she's ever made. Is it the longest vlog she's ever made?
Yes.
The longest vlog she's ever made.
I would say it took her the most time to edit as well.
So tell me about what that meant to post this vlog, what's your kind of analysis of why it's been successful and what you think its impact is going to be, and it's just its level of a success. And then also tell me a little bit about what went into the creation of it and how it kind of represents some of the things that we talk about in Vlogging Academy.
Yeah. So we did Vlogtober last month in October. Judy did it, really. I was going to do it on my channel, and then when she said she's going to do it, guess what? It's our channel. So I went into family vlog mode, and we did it every single day. So it's like a team effort. To be fair, though, she edits all the content. She's not really editing just in the new method, but once in a while, like utilizes some of those strategies, okay? So we have not done that in 8 years. 8 years since we did daily vlogs, 7 days a week, okay? And periodically she would go live for days she didn't edit, right? Because we got 5 kids, we're busy or whatever, and she would just do live stream because she really wanted to hit that. So credit to her. She is a beast when it comes to being a creator, okay? But we topped off the whole Vlogtober with an hour-long vlog, unintentionally. Honestly, I gave her my content like I do every single day, right? She has her own content. She puts it back in Final Cut Pro, and then puts it, like slowly edits it. And then I remember that day, like she was editing for 6 hours, which is a long time for this. I know there's a lot of creators out there, including shortform, where like 6 hours, like a normal day for her. Well, her method, one, she's so good at editing, she does it faster than most other people.
Yeah.
So usually it's like 2 to 3 hours, maybe 4 hours tops. So this one just took 6 hours, okay? And she didn't move from her spot. So I was like, oh, this is like a massive one. And then it ended up being an hour, okay? We just both had vlogged a lot on Halloween, okay? But also we both kind of wanted to do a longer vlog in general. So we're not arbitrarily vlogging more to make a longer vlog. We're just allowing ourselves to vlog more content and more intentional. And like, to be fair, we're just better at it now after doing it for whatever, 17 years. So, and she's also letting it ride out. So this one is unique because she did edit it to where it's like her old style of editing, but with a longer piece of content. What was the results of it? Crazy amounts of average view duration, meaning it was like 22, 23 minutes of, like people watching. So just consider this, everybody. If you're a creator, it's an hour-long vlog. So not everybody's watching a whole hour, but on the average of I think right now it's up to, how many views is it up to right now?
I don't know the exact number, but last you sent to me, it was 40,000. I'll look at it right now.
I can look at it right now because I have it pulled up, right? It's gotten 53,000 views. 53,000 people on average watch this for 20 minutes. And I always compare it to your TikTok, okay? Or YouTube Shorts. On average, those things got like 5 to 15 seconds. But let's just say 20 seconds, right? To be generous, okay? How many of those short form videos would you have to watch to get up to? I think in that case, would it be 100? It's more than 100. It's a lot to get to 20 minutes average view duration. That's the average. So there's a lot of people who watch the whole thing, okay? And then secondly, we don't, divulge her numbers in terms of ad revenue, but I can just tell you it's on its way to being number one, which totally makes sense. More ads are going to run in an hour, but at the degree at which it's making revenue, it's already third right now.
That's crazy.
For the last month.
That's crazy.
Third, okay?
And it's just started. I mean, it's literally the most recent.
This is going against banger vlogs that got like 100,000 views. That's in just a matter of 4 days. So this is going to continue to get views. And in 30 days from now, it's not only going to be number one, it's going to be light years ahead of whatever's number two, okay? I just know this based on the trajectory. Now, again, credit to Judy. Epic editor, epic content creator. Took her 6 hours to edit or whatever. But again, this will continue to get views. And this is the type of video we know that continues to get views, not only months, but potentially years, because it's what we call a tentpole event, Halloween. So what happens is, anytime we do a Halloween vlog, anyone that's really interested in our family and loves Halloween, or anybody that just likes Halloween content, but this one's got another bonus I'm going to talk about, right? We'll maybe watch it again next year, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it just happens. Like we'll see a little uptick. It's not like significant, but again, it's work that we did a year ago that continues to get views.
Money, yeah.
It's going to get the most views in the next month or two, okay?
For sure.
This is the thing about this vlog, though, that's unique, that we've never done before. By default, my instinct is, my belief is that the algorithm is going to serve this just because it's an hour long. It's no secret that our top performing vlogs, both on my Benjamin Food Vlogs channel, Benjamin TV, and It's Judy's Life, our family vlog channel, are all longer videos, the longest videos. And they always say the algorithm represents the audience. I believe that's true. people just want the longer videos. They don't want to choose another one. It's a complete opposite of short form where you swipe through. You just want to get to that perfect one, and then you might let it play out, and then you keep swiping through, right? Like there's a little bit of human involvement, but it's really the algorithm trying to figure out what do you really want to watch. Because the thing that you do watch, guess what? 2 or 3 shorts later, it shows you more of that, and then eventually it might just keep showing you that whatever, right? But with longer form like this, they just want it to play out. And even better than that, the autoplay afterwards. So like it's just like mindless viewing. Now they're still paying attention to a certain degree. And what I'm just saying is like, they like it when it just rides out. And this is why the people who are crushing it on YouTube are either longer form video creators or live streamers that are going live for 1, 2, or 3 hours. If you can keep up that pace, you're dominating right now because we are in the TV era. And it's just interesting. This was not planned. This was just by chance that we end Vlogtober with the longest vlog ever. And of course, our like super fans loved it. They're like,
let me go ahead and read some of the comments actually. That 1 hour, oh my goodness. Bless you, heart emoji. I'm going to miss Vlogtober. Here's another one. We're too spoiled. A 1 hour Halloween vlog is the best way to end Vlogtober. Ghost emoji, jack-o'-lantern emoji, hug emoji. There's another one. 1 hour, OMG. I hope you guys had a great Halloween, heart emoji. And just another one, just to really prove the point. 1 hour with 4 exclamation points afterwards. I guess I'll start organizing and cleaning my whole house. People loved this thing. They were so excited just to see the number, of minutes.
We call that a chore viewer, by the way. It just confirms what I've been saying for over a year, maybe 2 years now. A chore viewer, very similar to a couch viewer, because where do you watch the TV? In your living room on the couch. And I even say the commuter viewer too, right? Like the person that's on their way to something just wants something to play in the background. This is why audio is really important for longer form videos, especially anything that's informational, educational, because even if it's entertaining, sometimes your audio can be entertaining, right? Like it becomes, by the way, all 3 of those, there's a word underneath all of it that I think is the most important. It's called comfort viewing. We've become people's daily habits, right? And comfort viewing. Oh, you don't want to know another? This is like a bonus takeaway of everything. We ran a poll because Judy said, when should I upload this vlog? I was like, I think you should do it closer to the evening, late afternoon. She's like, no, we should do it like in the morning. I was like, let's run a poll of when people watch the most. So we ran a poll, right, of when people are watching the most. I'm trying to get to it as we're talking. And it was 1 was the morning, 1 was the afternoon, and 1 was early evening. Can you guess which one won?
I'm going to guess early evening for her show specifically.
And Judy, who frankly probably you would expect knows the audience, she thought it was going to be morning, right?
Yeah.
Because
her old viewing habit would have been the morning because her videos were shorter. They were like in the 10 to 15 minute range, right?
So surprise, surprise. Guess what won? Early evening by 57%.
Wow.
And that's on a poll that was ran a day ago with 2,500 votes.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's actually very, that one is very sort of clinical and simple to think about, which is that her videos have gotten longer, especially through Vlogtober. She's utilizing the new vlogging method, your new vlogging method. And people just have more time in the evening than they have in the morning. So they're going to watch it when they get home, away from work, and just let it play.
That's related to what I was just talking about a little bit before that. Couch viewers.
Yeah.
You sit on the couch in the evening. You don't really sit on the couch in the morning during the day because
ready.
You're getting ready, you're going to work, going to school, you're just busy doing stuff. You relax, you're a couch viewer in the evening. But more importantly, the comfort viewer. What I'm saying is longer form content is like a break from everything else.
Yeah.
It's been like that. That's what
including shorter form content, by the way.
Yeah, including that. Like that's just too much. Like
Yes.
for your brain to like when people talk about, of course, brain rot and just anxiety related to content, it's almost always social media or now short form content. But comfort viewing is different, right? Especially the way we do it. We're not trying to like engage you like a Mr. Beast video or like this crazy like
It's
viral
not Coco-Melon.
TikToker.
Yeah.
No, but definitely not, right? It's just like wholesome content. It's weird to even say. I don't want to like be like holier than thou or whatever.
It's just different.
It's just different and relaxed, and it's just us being a family, and our audience loves that.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? My food vlogs are the same thing. I am going to admit I'm not nearly as good as most other food content creators, and especially Costco creators. But there's something comforting about my food vlogs or my food shopping vlogs that people just love because it's just a more relaxed style of content. And I'm telling you, this is not only getting more and more views, but also more people are seeking this out. As a contrast, it's a great way to put the icing on the cake, not only to the short form content, not only to the high production content, but the AI slop that is out there. Because it's real life, real people, and it's just more realistic, and you don't question it. Right now, when you watch my vlog or you watch our family vlog, you don't question, is this real? Are they using AI? It's 100% authentic, real, and there's something comforting about that. And as a creator, you need to pay attention to this, because if you can spend, like I was saying, 30 minutes to do a 30-second spot, or you're so good that you can bang out shorts and TikToks and short form content left and right, and you've been able to bang out 2 or 3 long form videos a week, you can do longer form videos. And it's a lot easier. And guess what? There's a huge demand for it because everyone's tired of everything else. This is such a contrast to what I was saying, because I was doom and gloom at the beginning of this podcast, because it's true. There is a freaking tsunami coming. That's not just AI content. It's more short form content. It's this CEO of Google saying, hey, we're investing more into shorts on YouTube, right? But guess what? On the TV, we relax a little bit and we're just having fun, and you're just yourself. It's a dream, right? The reason daily vlogging was a dream is you're just documenting your life and you were making money doing it, right? Whatever your life was, you didn't have to do anything different or spectacular. You just did whatever, because there's enough people interested in the same thing as you. It's at a high level now, because hour-long vlogs didn't work before. It is literally working. This is the first time we've done a family vlog that was an hour, and it worked. It worked. It went against all of our, and that was the first time I had the realization in 2020 when I ran up the stairs with my laptop to show Judy, this hour-long vlog got 1 million views. It shouldn't work. 5 years later, we do an hour-long vlog, and it's one of our #1 performing, and it's going to keep going. And the real question is, why aren't we doing more hour-long vlogs? Now, that's a whole nother discussion, and of course, Judy's involved with it. What I'm saying is, everything we've been saying, Austin, is confirmed that the one way to compete against all the doom and gloom that I talked about is do longer videos. And what's crazy is, it's easier than you think.
If you want an opportunity to learn the vlogging method that Judy has been using for all of Vlogtober and Benji has been using for, several years at this point, that hundreds of other students have used to take advantage of the biggest opportunity ever on YouTube, the TV era of YouTube, you can go to vloggingacademy.com to check out more about what we do there. We teach a framework that allows you to take advantage of what Benji just called the dream. It allows you to take your life and the things that you're passionate about and make it the simplest production process that you can in order to take advantage of the long form comfort viewer that Benji just coined live on air. That is more and more going to be the target of the YouTubers that are going to be the most successful in this new era of YouTube. So if you're interested in learning more about that, Benji couldn't have said it better. Go ahead and check out more at vloggingacademy.com. And if you have questions, you can email us at hello@vloggingacademy.com. Our thanks to the students of Vlogging Academy who make this show possible. And we'll see you next week. Now, neutrally, before you fade to black, I actually have a really quick post-show topic as well. So for those of you who are still with us, we're actually, we've never done this before. I just wanted to, this is where we kind of lean back and talk about things after the show. I know we got to get going here, but just wanted to quickly note that, it's a big deal right now that it's political season and that we just went through elections. And I just wanted to kind of say that there's been a lot of discussion about the role of social media in the election this year. Not in the ways that we've discussed it in the past, or Cambridge Analytica did this thing and Russian, influence campaign, but more so how candidates are using social media more than ever. You and I have been obsessed with this. Yes, you literally have to.
It doesn't surprise me that the young guy beat the two older guys, one being like a celebrity in itself and a former governor, and the other guy also being an influencer, but from the radio age, right? And you got this young guy that is the second youngest guy in the win mayoral the
mayor position, yeah,
for New York City.
Yeah. And so Benji's, of course, referring to Zoran Mamdani versus Cuomo and Sliwa. If you look at Zoran's history, I'm going to tell you right now, the number one contributor to his success is his use of social media. Short form in particular, but also long form to a degree. And to me, there's no world in which he wins without something like TikTok and other short form platforms behind his back. Because at the beginning of the race, I think he was literally, his name was known by less than 1% of people in the race. Just his name, not people who are going to vote for him, if they even knew the guy.
Yeah.
By the end, he wins the race in actually kind of a landslide fashion to some degree.
I actually feel like a lot of the haters or the opposition helped him out.
Why is that? What do you mean?
Well, because a lot of people, let's just say like Republicans or conservatives or people that are looking at it, they kept saying like he's like a radical Muslim candidate, right? They were helping him because
by giving him exposure.
Because of everything happening. I mean, it relates to Israel and Palestine, right? There's a lot of sentiment for or sympathy for the people in Palestine because, they're getting attacked in a war, right? And some people would call it other things. I'm not here to debate that, but there's just a lot of sympathy for them. And Palestinians, I believe, are Muslim, right?
There is a large contingent.
Right? Like most of the population. Okay, so what I'm saying is that like the opposition thought that was a bad thing that he's Muslim or whatever. I have by the way, I have no judgments on this, positive or negative. Okay, I don't live in New York City. It's like their city to whatever. My point is this: what you just said is true, and they were helping him. When I see all the content around him, it's like radical Muslim candidate is running and it's going to destroy New York City, bringing attention. And if somebody is looking all the controversy in the Middle East, and there's a lot of protests supporting Palestine, wrong or right, whatever you think, and they're like, maybe I should vote for this guy because like he's Muslim. Everyone likes change, right? Obama was the greatest example of this, him being a black man running for president and winning in itself was great. And then he gets the Nobel Peace Prize from literally the first week or whatever, just being like this groundbreaking person, human. Okay. Mandami represents that. Okay. And if he's using social media, I always call it the judo reverse chop. They thought they were like attacking him. He was reversing and saying whatever he was saying in social media. But what more powerful than that? They were helping him, right? They're like
Well, you're talking a lot about the people who are pushing back, which I do agree with. That's just the dynamic of social media.
The reason I bring it up is you said 1% only knew his name, right? They were making it like 50% knew his name, even if it was negative.
But that's where I disagree, is that I actually think that what he did is he used social media to get his name out there, and then the attacks came, which then helped get his name out even more.
I agree.
So
I agree with
his
that.
background, right? I think his mom was a filmmaker, by the way. So he grew up in the context.
He has a great smile, and I've seen him on camera. Great presence on video.
And the amazing thing about that to me is it just shows the power of these social platforms as we move forward we're not just talking about the economics of things, the future of business, the future of competition. I mean, we talked about Dick's Sporting Goods earlier in the show. We talked about AI earlier in the show. This also shows you the importance in the political world as well. Social media is now at the precipice of being, it's no longer, like social media is mainstream media now. It just simply is. There's no debate against that at this point. And the difference that makes as in this case, candidates go forward is that the traditional gatekeepers are basically gone now, and it's a new set of gatekeepers, which for the most part are these algorithms, right? So if you know how to work these algorithms, well, A, you can be an asset to someone who has political aspirations. But B, if you are someone who has political aspirations, if you know how to work the algorithm in these social platforms, you're going to outcompete everybody else in this moment.
But before that, you have to be comfortable on camera.
Yes.
On a phone camera.
Yes.
Okay. Or, we talk about long form, but if you can just hold up and take a question and answer it, or better than that, like the Mandami guy, like literally just like he did a lot of walk and talk.
Yeah.
Walk and talk is where like you're walking into like a space and you're like talking
There's
to
a
the
camera
camera
that's following
and
you.
he did a lot of that. I didn't really follow this race very much, but I every time I saw him on camera, charismatic and great communicator. But to your point about his mom being in film or whatever, he had a great presence in there. And the opposers, right, like Cuomo and I don't even know the Republican candidate, they did not have that.
Yeah.
And they definitely weren't using social media, partly because of their generation. Their team might have, but you can't rely on the team. You have to do it. By the way, this is the biggest takeaway for creators and anybody that wants to be a creator, including anybody in politics, right? You have to be the one that cares the most about the content you're creating. It can't be like outsourced somewhere else. You have to be it, because when you got someone like him or just any creator that's doing this day in and day out, my wife and I are included in this, we'll do laps around you if you're like hiring the consultant or you have this like production team. It's the people that are the best on camera and care the most about that content that are winning left and right, including this guy Mandami in New York City. And I agree with you. I don't think there's any pushback. Like I said, I didn't follow it, but I'm saying those guys thought they were hurting him. No, they were helping him, because guess what? More attention. What did they say? Bad PR is better than no PR, right?
Yes.